the audio doesn't desync when it does that. I don't think I'll do the terraforming tutorial, because it's not really about city planning, is it? It's kind of teaching you how to use the other tools. I'll go through it really quickly. I'm not going to read this stuff. Yep. So you can raise mountains. That is unrealistic. Okay, continue. I'm not gonna read any of that. Create a valley. Although if you go, below sea level, then the water magically appears. That is unrealistic. Terrain effects. This is interesting. You can use erosion, so you can erode it. It makes it look like there's weathering, and there's kind of these channels where water kind of flows. You might get rivers there. Just keep pressing and see what happens. Cool. I kind of like this effect. Interesting. Continue. Bring terrain to life. Trees. Trees are cool. You can just keep spamming it too, and then just kind of plant more trees. You can add animals. I don't really know. Alright, continue. Day and night. That's interesting for your city. It looks kind of cool. And then, wait, what do we... No, continue. Do I have to day-night cycle to move forward? Okay, and then disasters. Really? A tornado? Okay, tornado. Let's place it there. Continue. And then reconcile edges, because your city is basically in a square. It's surrounded by other cities, so then you can reconcile the edges so that the edges match up. You don't actually have to do this. Like if the edges mismatch, the cities will still run, so it's not really all that important. It looks good though if they actually line up. So just do that and exit. Alright, so we're not going to spend too much more time on that. Making money. Let's go. So money is important, in case you don't realize. So you know how to get a city started and the basics of how to play. If not, you should exit the tutorial, blah blah blah. This tutorial will address the #1 reasons new mayors fail: bankruptcy. Remember, making money is one of the keys to success in SimCity. Click continue button to move forward, right? Bleeding money. We've got close to 50,000 simoleons in the bank, and a population of around 2,000, yep. We've got ourselves a nice little town, right? Wrong. Wrong, brother, wrong. Oh, crap. Can we go back? I didn't read the rest. Anyway, we're losing money. Look at the budget windows. Looking at the budget window, it shows that we're currently spending more than we're making. So we're spending about 1,000, and we're only making about 1,000. So every month we're losing $1,000 simoleons. We need to minimize our expenses. If we don't, we'll eventually be booted out of office when our city funds run dry. Continue. Query school. Our city has built an elementary school. What a nice mayor. Education is important. Yes, it is. But let's take a closer look at how much it's costing us every month. Why does that... I didn't finish reading it. Let me just do this again. Come on. Alright, let's just try this again. I'll read the missing paragraphs. We've seen that. We've done this. If we don't do something, the city is going to be bankrupt, and I mean fast. Just look at the budget. Okay, look at the budget. We've seen that before. Alright. Education is important, but let's take a closer look at how much it's costing us every month. Select the query tool, yes. Oh, I did read everything. Reduce local school funding. Reduce the local funding and busing so they are more in line with our needs. Move the local funding slider to the left until the student capacity is just a bit larger than the number of students. So we're cutting the teachers because we have way too many teachers. Actually, let's just put it there. Adjust the busing slider to the left until the cost is around $25. And you can see what's happening there, right? You see the coverage ring decrease. Schools only improve residential areas, so we were wasting money. That's not really clear, is it? So what's going on here is you can increase or decrease funding to the elementary school to adjust how many students it's able to educate at the same time, right? And then you can also adjust the school bus funding, which controls how big the area of effect is. I mean, if you have it higher, then you can cover more area, but then if there's no houses out there, then there's no point, right? And this is one of the parts of the game that I kind of appreciate, but then I don't, because when your city gets bigger and you have a lot of these schools and hospitals and whatnot, you end up spending a lot of time just clicking through all of them and micromanaging them, which I don't like. Like, there's no way to automate this stuff. Like the local funding, you can't just say, okay, just have it so that it's a little bit above student capacity and leave it, and have the game automatically do that for you. It doesn't do that. So then, imagine you have like 10 schools, and you have to kind of click through each one to check if the funding level is correct. Anyway, that's something that I don't really appreciate about this school. Alright, continue. So query the clinic. Save a few hundred simoleons at the local elementary school. Remember, set local budgets to suit your needs. Let's do the same at the local clinic. That's the clinic. So again, we have, you see the number of doctors is 17, number of patients 99, but patient capacity is 500. So a lot of doctors are just spending a lot of time doing nothing at all. So we're going to reduce, we're going to cut funding. If you're having a hard time finding a clinic, zoom in. Oh, I found it. Move the local slide to the left. Alright, so we're going to do that. And then move the local ambulance slider to the left to shrink the coverage ring a bit. Wait a minute, didn't we shrink the school one a little too much? Because these are residential properties too, right? So the school doesn't actually cover all the houses, look at that. That's kind of funny actually. Alright, let's just do that. That's what we want to do. Continue. Is the budget balanced yet? Not quite, we're halfway there. Looks like we have to remove some expensive structures that we can't afford right now. Cost cutting is rough. Yes, cost cutting is rough. What is that? Continue. Too much too soon. A common problem that new mayors run into is giving their fledgling towns too much. We're cutting costs. You should only give them what they need when they need it. For example, this town is swimming in water, which it doesn't really need yet. Later, when we have a positive cash flow and are ready for wealthier and higher density buildings, we can add water. I actually don't... when I play my own cities, I always give them water right at the start. And apparently the tutorials tell you not to do that. Anyway, demolish water pump. Right now we're spending 350 simoleons a month on maintaining a large water pump. It's a bit drastic, but let's bulldoze it. Alright, no more water for you. Well done. Well done, you're cutting services. Are those bears? That's a lot of bears. Are those bears attacking these houses? Alright, there are a few more civic services that are draining our budget we should deal with. Continue. Remove fire station. The fire coverage and police protection in this town are top notch, but guess what? They're costing you a bunch of money each month and you don't really need them yet. We're cutting taxes and we're cutting services. We're not cutting taxes though, actually. We're just cutting your services. Remember your first small fire station when you have your first fire. Or place your first small fire station when you have your first fire, not before. That's not realistic. Don't do that in real life. Alright? When you have a fire, it's too late to hire firefighters. Seriously. If your house is already burning down, it's too late to hire your first firefighter. Place your first small police station when crime starts to become a problem. Yeah, I don't know if that's, good city planning in the real world, but hey, it's a game, let's do it. Bam, bam. Wait, why do I have to... Okay, fine. Demolish landmark. The California Plaza is certainly a lovely building. I don't know, it looks kinda ugly. Right? But guess what? It's costing us hundreds of millions a month. Landmarks beautify a city and even help commercial desirability, but they don't make sense when we're losing money every month. Time to take it down. What they don't tell you is that this game has certain demand caps, like a limit to the demand for residential and commercial and industrial. And there are demand cap busters. There are certain buildings that let you increase that cap. Like these numbers, you never see them in the game itself. You can look up on the internet, the demand caps, and you see all the numbers there. But there are some hidden game mechanics here that they don't tell you about, which I don't really like. I mean, they're kind of essential to playing the game successfully, but they don't tell you the mechanics in the game. They never tell you the demand caps. And so early on when I first started playing this game and I first started building the cities, they just don't work. Because I don't know about the demand caps, and I don't know which buildings raises which caps the best, and so then the cities just fail. Well, they don't completely fail, but they're not very good. So I don't like the fact that this game actually hides some of these game mechanics from you. What is that smoke? That was strange. Anyway, we're demolishing it. Cool. Hey Mayor, take a look at the budget now. Our monthly income is finally more than we're spending. Oh good, now we are making $500 a month. We've balanced the budget and we're making some money, but let's take a look at one more thing, taxes. This is where the city gets almost all of its income. Yes, taxes. Look at the money we're earning from residential, commercial and industrial sectors. Remember, taxes are your main source of money. Yes, they are. Clicking on the little eye next to the tax opens up the tax details. This is where you can change all the tax rates. Click. Okay. This is the window you can change all of the tax rates. The higher the tax rates and the higher the population, the more money your city earns. But be careful. If you raise taxes too much, you can scare folks off. Yes. That's strange. It's 9% of it. Actually, agriculture doesn't actually collect any taxes at all, so lowering taxes for a certain group can make your city more attractive to that group. For example, when your city is better educated, you might want to discourage dirty industry by raising tax rates for that group. Again, okay, it works in the game, but in the real world, what you're doing is you're pushing the dirty industry into somewhere else where they can't afford to raise taxes on them. So you're kind of pushing the pollution onto someone else to solve. Anyway, while we're here, tax cuts for the rich. Tax cuts for the rich. There's no rich people, by the way. But tax cuts for the rich. I'm a great Republican. Alright, done. Good work, you've completed this tutorial. Remember these steps in a new city and you'll be rolling in cash no time. Okay. Make local funding match your needs. Yes, so you reduce the fundings to your school and hospitals and clinics, so you don't spend too much. Although again, the game mechanic doesn't scale, right? When you have a huge city and you have dozens of these services, you just end up spending all your time clicking through all of them, and then checking each one. I really don't like that mechanic. I like the ability to set the levels. I don't like the fact that you can't automate it. Anyway, I'll stop complaining about that. Don't build structures until you need them, okay. Taxes are your main source of income. Try playing this city and building up to 20,000 sims. No thanks. Hint, start by zoning some more residential areas. See again, like this is assumption of growth. This is assumption that, hey, make your city grow, make your city grow. They keep telling you to make your city grow. So, you might not actually want to do that. Alright, so we're done here. Exit and play city. Let's just check what's going on here. So there's residential here, a little bit of commercial, and then industrial here. So this time they've put the power plant on the other side of the city from the residential because the pollution then doesn't reach. Although then there's this dirty industries here. Let me just check these things. Yeah, so that's dirty industry, and they're right next to these houses. That's not great. And then there's these houses out in the middle of nowhere. They don't have school coverage, they don't have clinic coverage, and they don't even have water anymore, and they have to drive all this way to get to work. But they have less pollution. So let's just look at the air pollution. So they have less pollution than these guys. Haha, sucks to be you. But they have no services. These tutorials are kind of strange, to be honest. Alright, let's just keep going. Exit and save. I doubt I'll actually play these ever again, so I don't know why I'm saving them. Might be useful. Might be useful. Alright, big city tutorial. Yes, big cities. $1 million in the bank. Amazing. This is a bit obscure. I don't know. I don't really remember how this works. So you want a big rich city. See again, this assumption that you just want to grow and grow and grow. They keep saying this. And the game kind of is designed towards the big city. But in the real world, quite often people don't want the big cities. They kind of want to live in a... Some people really like a sea change. They want to live in a small town by the sea. Or they want to have a farm. Or they just want to live in a quiet suburb. They don't really want the big city. Some people. I mean, I don't mind cities. I like cities. But, the assumption that you just want to grow cities is not... Like, it's not always correct. Anyway, let's just keep going. This tutorial assumes that you know how to create a small city of at least 20,000 sims and a strong positive cash flow. If you don't know how to... Oh, it assumes you know how to do 20,000, I see. If you don't know how to make a city like this, we recommend you take a look at the making money tutorial before continuing here. That's fine. To go to the making money tutorial, no, continue. Turn the city around. This city is getting big, but it's still low down, dirty, and poor. Again, it's saying these things as though it's a bad thing. And I mean, ordinarily, you would say, okay, a dirty and poor city is bad. But there's always going to be poor people. There's a lot of poor people in the world. And if they're not in your city, they're probably having to live in some other city. You know what I'm saying? So, like, and industry and then the dirty manufacturing, if it's not here, it's somewhere else. I mean, it's not in the United States, it's in China. And then the Americans complain about the Chinese taking all their jobs. But then you don't want your dirty factories in America, do you? So you outsource them to China. You see what I'm saying? So, I mean, you can't have it both ways. You can't have the cake and eat it too, right? So if you don't want dirty industry in your SimCity, you can export it to SimChina, but then you don't get the jobs. Anyway, let's just keep going. The previous mayor made a practice of hoarding as much tax income as possible and depriving his city's Sims of almost all services. Must be a Republican. As a result, there are no schools, hospitals, parks, or police stations in the city. Yes, libertarianism! Yes, Ayn Rand. I don't know how many of you guys are... I don't know how well informed you are about your politics. Anyway. Yes, fiscal conservatism. No services for you. Your mission is to turn things around here and to set the city on a positive path for the future. What are you, communist? Residential demand is strong, meaning the city wants to grow even more. Oh, I can't see it though. But almost all available areas have been zoned already. The pressure is on to start building upward, fitting more sims into less space. See again, okay, you must build out before you can build up. Is that true? I'm not sure. But actually it's kind of true. Again, there's this assumption that you just want to keep growing. And that if you let people build up, then they will build up. Again, it's not always true, especially in the United States, in Australia and New Zealand. There's a lot of sprawl, a lot of kind of really low density suburbs around, not many people living in apartments. In Europe is kind of more concentrated, the cities, and in Asia the cities are really concentrated, right? And there's a lot more apartments, a lot more high-rise buildings. But the assumption that you just build upwards is not always true. It's true in New York, as they say. Not true in Los Angeles, right? It's up to you as mayor to tell your Sims where they can start constructing higher density apartment buildings. A central location like the one shown is a good place to start. Really? You can see the zones here. There's a lot of residential, and then there's a bit of industry there in the corner. There's industry down here as well. Continue. You can upgrade lower density zones into higher density by simply dragging the zoning to over all the lot you want to grow taller. The roads are really inefficient in this city. Or maybe not. The existing buildings will remain until new demand causes those lots to redevelop, right? So you're going to go medium density residential, and we're going to zone these. So we're changing the zone. Higher density buildings need a public water supply. Wow, there's no water in this whole town so far. No one is building new apartments yet. In order to save money, the former mayor never built a municipal water system. Oh, I see. I actually didn't realize this. So you can go low density and cover the entire city without any water at all. That's interesting to know. Anyway, high density buildings require a public water supply to develop. By the way, this is also true for wealthy residents and businesses. Okay, I see. Place a water pump in the location shown. For convenience, underground pipes have already been built for you. Alright. Water pump. So they put the pipes in, but not the pump. Alright, let's just put the pump in. We need to check that later on. Pretty soon you should see your Sims start building apartment buildings in your new medium density zone. Now all those other Sims eager to move into town will have a place to live. Well done. See, again, this is assumption that there's always people who want to move in. And that once you let them move in, they will move in. Again, there's the assumption, or there's the game mechanic that they don't move in until you let them, first of all, which is not true in the real world. And also that they will come in once you let them, which is also not true in the real world. Like in some cities, you can let people move in all you want, and they just won't move in because they don't like the city. That happens in the real world. Alright. The city is now on its way to growing taller and taller. Again, like these, you can see the assumption going on here, right? Taller and taller. One day it will become necessary to start zoning some high density areas. See, they expect you to want to do that. But it's too soon for that now. High density zones are expensive and the money will go wasted until the city's population gets higher. Again, like there's a game mechanics here that they're not telling you about. Like there are certain thresholds and there's certain demand caps. Like once you reach that threshold, then the high density buildings will start to appear. But the game is not telling you what those thresholds are, and they never tell you what those thresholds are. You have to kind of look them up on the internet if you're interested. I really don't like that. Like the mechanics are there, and they're, the rules are pretty strict, right? There's no way around it. But they don't tell you what the rules are, and so you just kind of stumble around. I think that's. I don't agree with that choice in game design. Anyway, perhaps you're wondering now where the rich folks are. Well, there are no rich folks. You've provided the water they require, but the hard truth is that wealthy Sims don't see much else to like in the city. Yeah. They look for nice things like schools, healthcare, and parks in the city. Wait, are there no... Wow, there are no schools and no clinics at all. Interesting. I might try this. I might try to build a terrible city. How desirable is the city? Okay, let's just click. And desirability. There we go. So, high wealth. Eee. The red areas show that there are no areas of the city that are attractive to high wealth residents. Simoleons. That's a symbol. Wealthy Sims are going to be choosier, willing to spend more to live in nice areas with proper city services. But first, can you afford to spend more on city services to attract those Sims? So it's kind of telling you how to use these tools to understand what's going on in your city. You've got an extra 7,000 simoleons a month. You can see that the city is taking in a lot more money each month than it is spending, generating a healthy surplus. The previous mayor was such a miser that the city is pretty unappealing as a result. Now that you are here, it's time to start spending. Start your improvements by focusing your efforts in this pretty little corner of town, away from the grime and noise of the center. Again, there's this... Look, this pretty little corner of town, away from the grime and noise of the center. And you're gonna turn this into where the rich people live. I mean, we're assuming that city centers are always going to be grimy and noisy. That's not necessarily true. It's often true. Just because, higher density means, more pollution, more people, more noise and all that. It doesn't have to be true. You can... Like, if the city is well designed and well managed, you can manage the traffic, you can manage the rubbish, you can manage the noise, and not have it unpleasant. It's not easy, but you can do it. Not in this game though. This game, like the way the simulation is set up, the fact that everybody drives is a problem. Like, aside from cars, there's supposedly public transport, but it doesn't really work very well. Anyway, it's SimCity, but it's more like Sim American City. Let's just say that. Let's begin by building a park. Create a nice pretty spot in this otherwise glum city. Build it on this prominent spot in the neighborhood. Select a small park green. Really? It's like 1 square. Yay! There's 1 park. Pretty soon you'll see... Wow, that's amazing. So you see what happened there? That was the demand cap. Basically, there were no parks, and therefore there were no... Like, the demand cap for the high wealth residences was like nothing. Nobody wanted like none of the high... Like, there's no quota for high wealth residences. Once you put that park in, it raised the cap on high wealth residences, and then the buildings appeared. So that's the mechanic. And again, the game doesn't tell you that. It doesn't tell you what the numbers are. So if you... it might not be the park, it might be something else that's missing. Or it might be something else that's holding you back. So you might, oh, I don't have high wealth residences, I'll put in more parks. You can put in all the parks you want, it doesn't necessarily give you a lot of high wealth residences. But I guess that's kind of like the real world, isn't it? You don't really know what's going on sometimes. Anyway. Pretty soon you'll see the area around the park start to develop new larger houses. The local area has suddenly become more desirable to high wealth Sims with the addition of just a single park. Okay, good. Continue. How can you be sure that it was the park that attracted those wealthier residences? You can always refer to the desirability maps to see how things are shaping up in the neighborhood. Alright? You can clearly see that the area immediately around the new park is greener than the rest of the city. Yes. Such amenities as parks and schools have local desirability effects on the residential development. Imagine a day when you have covered your city with such goodies, a great green field of desirability. Again, the assumption that you want to make a city full of rich, happy people, which is not necessarily the case. The newer SimCity games actually address that. Like some of the new SimCity games, like SimCity Societies and the new SimCity, which is I guess SimCity 5. They have different types of cities, not just Manhattan. Although, the simulations are still problematic in those games. I mean, obviously, you can't simulate something as complex as a city on a computer with any kind of accuracy, right? Anyway, let's keep going. So you've added a water system and a park to the city. Where are all the rich Sims? Increasing desirability is not enough. Your city must also have a positive demand for high wealth Sims before they'll show up. So the RCI is really useful. Basically, it tells you what the demand is. And there's numbers too, that's interesting. So we've got 4,000 poor people wanting to... There's always poor people wanting to move in. We actually have some demand for high wealth. The short green bar above that indicates there's very little demand for high wealth Sims. That looks alright to me. I mean, that's a few houses. This is because there are few jobs that pay well in the city. You will first need to create demand for higher or for better paying manufacturing industries, manufacturing, and high-tech industries before your city will bloom with wealthy residents. Again, look at the language, will bloom with wealthy residents. It's obviously a good thing to have rich people. That's the assumption here. And I keep repeating myself, but if the poor people aren't in your city, in the real world that is, if the poor people aren't here, they're somewhere else. It doesn't mean they go away, or it means they go away to somewhere else. They don't disappear completely, and so you're not helping those people. You're helping the wealthy people, kind of, but you're not helping the people who need help. You know what I mean? Anyway, that's the socialist in me talking. What do those sort of industries look for in the city? RCI, close this. Invest in your Sims. When a manufacturing or high-tech business is looking to build a new plant, they look for a city with a quality workforce. Wow, there's a lot of mechanics being introduced here. Healthy and educated Sims. Because the previous mayor never built schools or hospitals, this city's Sims are mostly illiterate, untrained, and unhealthy. Haha. Businesses notice these sorts of things, and so they've stayed away until now. Now that you're in charge, you can turn things around. Again, that assumption. I'm not saying that education is bad. Of course, education and healthcare is good. But I don't know, let's keep going. It's not that easy, It's not that easy. Alright, elementary school. We're gonna put it there. Are you serious? You're putting it there? There's no houses here. There's a lot more people living here than up there. But, wow. Okay. Provide for higher education. This school will give the children a good start in life, but a good mayor recognizes that education is a lifelong process. You will need to provide higher levels of education to your Sims, including high schools, libraries, and museums, right? Place a high school. Wait. Yes, you'll destroy some existing houses in the process, but it's worth the added expense. Okay, so we're going to demolish the houses. Right. Good, your Sims have just started on a path to achievement. Today's children are getting a quality education, but they won't enter the workforce for a few years yet. Building schools now will pay off big time in the future. Let your city run at cheetah speed for a little while to let that knowledge take hold, and for new industries to take notice. Alright, let's go. Provide for the public health. You see all the rich people moving into there. How about building the city's first hospital nearby? Okay. Healthier Sims live longer and remain in the workforce longer, another contribution to the city's quality workforce. Place the large medical center on the flashing squares. That's actually, yep. Cool. Now that you've made so many bold new improvements with the park, 2 schools, and new hospital, it's time to take a look at the desirability map. Alright. Oh, look! You can clearly see that things are looking up in that neighborhood. And all it took was a little investment on your part. Well done. Of course, there are a lot of areas in the city that are still pretty unpleasant. You have your work cut out for you. Okay. What happens is, yeah, so the rich people move in. The poor people demand is still as high as before. But the rich houses actually house fewer people than the poor houses. And so, where did they go? Where did they go? I don't know. Nowhere. They're gone. How's your demand doing? Before we conclude this tutorial, let's see how demand for those better paying industries is doing. The schools and hospitals have been in place for only a short time, but you might see some changes already. I don't see any changes. Really? Yes, you are starting to get some IM demand now. So, manufacturing. M for manufacturing. Good job. You should start to see those lower polluting, higher paying companies moving into town. Actually, when built, they'll start hiring more educated Sims to work in the managerial positions. Some will even get promoted to executives. Actually, it doesn't. I've played this game for a long time. I don't see, even when the dirty industry demand is down here and it's like that, you often see the dirty industry staying in place and the manufacturing not actually replacing them until you demolish the dirty industry stuff. Anyway, close that. Alright, you've completed this tutorial, yes. Remember these steps and you can turn your city into a sparkling symbol of success. Build out before you try to build up. I often don't do that. When I play this game, usually I will put in medium density residentials fairly early on. I'll put in schools and hospitals fairly early on. Maybe I'll try something else next time I play. Provide water to get larger buildings. Parks, schools, and hospitals will improve desirability. Educated Sims will bring in better paying businesses. Okay. Continue playing the city and see if you can get some high density development. Or no. Play. Okay, let's just check the zones. So you can see that they've got residential across most of the city, which is kind of ridiculous. Oh, wait, what? What? Wow, really? No, stop. 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 Thanks. Okay, stop. So, yeah, so they put the industry there. And you can see the air pollution is there. I don't know why they put a patch of industry here, though, because that creates pollution as well. Maybe that's just for you to fix. Although really, if there's high-tech demand, what we can do is demolish this and then have the high-tech stuff move in. And the dirty industry, you see how the dirty industry is kind of low demand there, they won't build. Let me just check the budget. Let's see the taxes. Wow, notice how they wrote different numbers. That's not how it usually is. They've lowered the tax rate on the low wealth commercial, I guess they've actually tweaked a lot of numbers to get this scenario running like this. So the hospital is completely understaffed because I'm gonna have to reduce the ambulance because there's way too many people going into this. Okay, okay. Or actually, why am I can actually increase the funding there. That's okay, that's fine. Alright, let's do that. Increase the funding there. High school, increase the funding a bit just in case. That needs more funding as well. Okay, cool. I'm not gonna play the city. This city is kind of a mess, to be honest. And there's like 4 power plants. Interesting. Can I just increase those? Like it's running out of power and everything. To increase... No, it didn't increase all of them. Let's just boot all of those up. Alright, I'm just gonna end this tutorial here. I'm not gonna play this anymore. Oh, we have railways as well. That's interesting. The railway goes from there to there to there. Road and rail connections to neighboring cities also provide demand cap increases. Again, like these things, the tutorial don't even tell you. So like, how would you know these things? Alright, there's one more tutorial. I've been going at this for over an hour now. I think I have to split this into 2 videos. So the last one is the rush hour tutorial. Basically, the rush hour is an expansion pack that improved the transportation in the game, which is really needed. But I don't know how helpful that tutorial is going to be.